Hey all, so week 2 of Summer of Pain, just getting this out to go over what I think are the easiest options. First and foremost, just use a shock immune, right? Um, if you are trying to do this the absolute safest possible way, if you have Doom, use him. Any other shock immune will also work. Thing would work, although that would take a very long time. I'll include a clip at the end of Storm Pyramid X working for the same reason, but basically this is just a slow fight. This was my first run at it, and as you'll see, it's a solo even though I get hit at one point in here, speeding up to 3 times because it's basically all the same. Um, I hit him. If he doesn't have a bar of power, I hit into his block a few times, take advantage of Doom's block penetration, which is one of the reasons he's actually better for this fight than most shock immunes. And I am just building to my L3 because that will give me the Fury, allow me to do a little bit of extra damage, and I don't have to worry about anything else. You're going to see other solos where the people use the L2s, and if you time that right, you can definitely get more damage out of that, and this fight can go a lot faster. But this was my first time through this, like I said, and so all I wanted was the solo. I wasn't concerned with anything fancy, and so all I'm doing is pushing him over a bar. I'm not messing with the L2 evade at all, even though I'm fairly good at it. I'm just pushing him over a bar, hitting into his block when I need to, throwing L3s to get a little bit of extra damage, and he's going down fine. Now you will see at one point I do make the lovely mistake. Right there, actually, you can see I forgot that he can't, or that he can block unblockable specials, and tried to throw an L1 into his block. Don't do that. But it still wasn't that big a deal. Later, I will actually charge head first into a special one. It might be coming right here. No, I guess a little bit later. But the degen definitely hurt. If you do not have a rank 3 Doom, I would not recommend that. But it actually ended up helping me quite a bit because it dropped me below 50% and therefore put me into range of the Courage Mastery and bumped my damage by 10% for the rest of the fight, and actually meant that this fight went faster than it would have if I had played perfectly. Your mileage may vary. I'm not outright recommending that, but it ended up being good for me, funnily enough. See, there we go. Dropped all the way to 47%. Now, at this point, I know I absolutely cannot do that again, so I kind of woke up again, but honestly, this fight was so boring. I think the original clip was like 15 minutes long, or more than, I don't even know. But it is extremely safe. As long as you know Sinister's L1 evade, this fight is extremely, extremely safe. Doom has excellent block proficiency, so you can freely parry if you need to, which I wasn't even doing for most of this. I was kind of treating him as though he was stun immune to avoid parry damage, but I really did not need to. See there, I was clearly getting bored. I actually did push him to a special 2, but that's not really a big deal, especially with Doom, because you can just dodge it, you get willpower healing from the concussion, and then you go right back into the same rotation that you've been doing for the past 500 hits. I'm not really sure what they were aiming for with this fight, because this option is so simple, and any other shock immune would be the same. It doesn't really feel like a skill fight to me, it just feels like, do you know his evade, and can you do the same thing for 15 minutes? Anyway, it definitely works. Coming to the end here. I am trying some other ones, and I highly recommend, if you get him down quickly with Doom or somebody else, have fun with it. Go for some of the others, because that kind of innovative thinking and that kind of practice is what's going to be necessary when the objectives come out. I actually am working on a few other cool solo ideas that hopefully will come out later this week, but I wanted to get this out for just the, if you need the point and you want to stop there, this is what you should do. There is one other option that I think is super safe, and we'll go over that next. I've seen people solo this with Torch. I've seen people solo this with Warlock. Both of those are 100% possible. However, I know from experience trying those solos that things can also go wrong, and so they are not my top recommendations. I almost never play Sunspot. He was one of my go-tos for diss track before I got Apocalypse, but I haven't really used him since. As you can see, this is just an unduped rank 2. Not really the top of this. And so it took me a couple tries to like remind myself, how exactly do you play him again? But once we got there, I think that this is definitely the safest and fastest version of this fight. Probably the single best counter, just from a balance of, will this for sure work? And it doesn't take 15 to 20 minutes like Doom does. I mean, the Doom fight can be done with a 4-star. I'm sure somebody will upload that before the week is over, but it's just so boring. As you can see here, Sunspot has that perfect block on parry, and so as long as you parry the first hit of the special, like right there, the perfect block carries through the full special. And then because he tries to incinerate you so many times, you will shoot right back up to whatever your max charges is. For me, since mine is unduped, that's 80, but I was basically in no danger of running out of charges. See, there it goes from 22 to 80. Now, because I went all the way down to 22, that's why I didn't go higher than 5 flare states. This could probably be over even sooner if you went higher, because he can get up to a max of 10. But if you run out of those solar charges with him, then the fight is over, because you can't reset them with an L3 because you've run out of your ability to apply damaging debuffs and to benefit from polka dot power. So I personally think that 5 is kind of the sweet spot. Once I played around with this fight a couple times, it was super easy, and you definitely could have set that hit count lower than I did. I think I heard somebody else with a rank 3 got it as low as 54, and I'm sure they figured out how to get it even lower than that. Anyway, like I said, I was going to show you StormX, because pretty much any shock immune will work for this fight. But she's a shock immune that some people forget about, since you have to use that pre-fight to switch her Tempests so that she takes 100% less damage from all shock effects. They will still proc on her, as you can see every time he throws a special, but they do no damage. Now, the reason that she's not at the top of my list is that she has no damaging debuffs without her specials, which means that she is never going to get a bar of power because of polka dot power, and therefore she just is not worth it if you have any other option. As you'll see here in a minute, I quit out of this fight when I've taken 5% off and I'm at 50 hits, which implies that a full solo would take 1,000 hits. And that's probably what you're looking at if you're using somebody like Thing as well, because they don't really ramp either. Still, a solo is a solo, and if you don't have Doom or Sunspot, then any shock immune will do okay. So, I hope this helps anyone who wasn't sure how to get through this guy, but I honestly think that he's much easier than last week. As long as you have any shock immune characters or Sunspot, it's going to be a pretty safe solo for you, and if you don't have any of them, then you should be able to get it down pretty efficiently, either as a solo or in only a couple revives with somebody like Torch or Warlock or a few other options. So, good luck everybody. Till next time. Take care.